So today I decided to do something different, and I have a good variety of character ideas for Nickelodeon. Hope you guys can see. I thought I'd just do it a different format, and just in how I do some of my live reactions. In this way, I wanted to be able to have you guys see what I came up with visually on the screen, also with some notes. And I'm gonna read some of them. I'm gonna be read through them, well, all of them, of course, but just gonna be reading through them and just coming up with more ideas and elaborating more. And as you can probably see, some of these episodes and some of the notes that I have here for this particular character that I would like to see from MultiVersus is going to be, they reference certain episodes. I watched all the episodes of Courage, and it just brings back so many memories. So I thought I'd just do a character idea of my own, a fan favorite. I'm sure that some people who love Cartoon Network back in from the 90s, and it's just not the same anymore. Cartoon Network has so many great shows, so I would like to see some of these characters implemented into MultiVersus if they make it in. And I think Courage has a good chance. I think he'll be a good fit. And I think many people out there who love the original old times of the Cartoon Network era, even with Toonami, and it doesn't matter which show you started watching. Maybe you might not even know him and never seen the show. I think it's one of the funniest shows. It was some episodes, certain episodes were super scary for Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I want to say this before I get started and start reading some of these through these character ideas that I came up with him for a moveset, something different instead of just naming the characters that I want to see. If you guys have any sort of characters that you want to see me talk about, um, I'm doing something similar with this for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl with certain characters people want to see in that game. I'm playing that as well. I just didn't have want to have the game running because it's a different game, but maybe for the next time I'll probably have the game running in the background so you guys can have something to look at, as far as the gameplay, because it's going to be a similar game, but it's going to play so differently with all these different licensed characters that's going to be already available. So if you have a character you want to see me talk about and come up with character ideas, you can let me know in the comments, and let me know what you guys think about this for a Courage the Cowardly Dog DLC fighter possibility for MultiVersus. So this is just the ideas. So let's start with the stages, and what I'm going to do is share more about what I found out for certain areas, because of course I don't remember every single thing about the show. I had to just do a little bit of digging. So for the stages, the for Courage the Cowardly Dog, the setting was the middle of nowhere, if you can believe it. It was just one house that they all lived in. It was Eustace, Muriel, and Courage themselves, and there was no one else around them. It was just in the middle of nowhere, and it's funny because even though they were in the middle of nowhere, there was so much going on there in that particular location, monsters and different bad guys and villains, with different hidden agendas that would try to um, take away Muriel and Eustace and take over their home and even take control of the city and the world, and if he or she got away with it. So it was just different stories every single episode. But I picked this stage because it'll be more fitting. And what I thought about, and as you can see listed right here, I'm gonna probably just be moving the face cam around so you guys can see. Um, or maybe I'll just scroll down in between while I go through the video. But I came up with the nowhere location, and also instead of just fighting in the indoors, they could be fighting on the rooftop, almost similar to how some of these stages, maybe like see how in Super Smash Bros. And on net, which is from Earthbound. It could be something like that. You're fighting on the rooftops of the houses of the city. They could do something similar to that, and then just have Eustace's truck in the background where the player can jump on and off of. That could be a platform to save them, or maybe something that they can just add to the stage. So all the players in the MultiVersus can be fighting each other on the rooftops. And then a little idea that I came up with is that windmill, and for example, that spins and makes that noise, they can have that little iconic noise that it makes that screeching noise. When it spins, it can occasionally spin around and cause some kind of hazard. It could be hazardous and can deal damage to the opponent if they're not into it, or maybe it can spin. It can spin slowly, like it usually does in a TV show, but then they can have it sped up occasionally from time to time. That can deal even more damage and maybe even trap the opponent to continuously do damage as they get caught into that particular windmill. See what I'm saying? So I thought that would be a cool little idea for this particular stage for nowhere. So fighting on the rooftop, have Eustace's truck in the background, and then the windmill. So they get the whole basic. You get the household, you get the windmill that's near it, and then also uses this truck, which is will be pretty cool to see. I can just really visually see this stage being added into the game with Courage the Cowardly Dog for just potential DLC. Now, just moving on, I put down the battle arena, so I referenced the it was the episode where Courage was taking on a different version of himself, the Mecha, or the robotic version of him. That was created with all these different unique. He's supposed to be the perfect dog. He's supposed to be the perfect dog that can do just about everything. See, so that's why Mecha Courage ended up taking over the household. So they ended up having to battle it out, and Courage had to prove himself worthy as an opponent and really be able to try to put him away for good. But as dominant as Mecha Courage was, Courage ends up finding a way to win because the Mecha Courage somehow runs out of batteries because he was beating him down so badly he ran out of energy and he couldn't go any longer. So I put in some other stages for the battle arena, and then from what I looked up from doing some research, it's called the Roman Colosseum, and see how it's spelled differently. That's how it's really um, that's the location of the particular episode when they battle it out. So even though it seems like it's spelled wrong, that's how it's spelled in the actual episode. So I wanted to have you guys see that. And then you guys remember that one episode with Flan, with "Bye Flan to see Flan." Yeah, I think that was one of my. I think that was one of my favorite episodes with Flan. It was the whole town was obsessed with Flan, and it was a commercial that would play on the TV. It was an advertisement that would hypnotize that all the residents and all the people of nowhere in the city as well to eat nothing but flan, and everybody was obsessed. They were raiding the stores, they were destroying everything and fighting each other over the flan. It was the King of Flan episode, as you can see on my in my notes here, in my notes here on the screen. I thought the Flan headquarters would be good for a potential location for that. We could fight inside the Flan's headquarters, and then the advertisement could play on the background. That'd be cool. Buy Flan to see Flan. It can play occasionally on the TV. Maybe they'll probably have to play throughout the whole stage. But I think that'll be something that could be cool and implemented into this game for stages. So that's gonna do it for our stages. So alternate costumes I came up with, and just how just recently finished talking about the Courage versus Mecha Courage episode, the Gladiator outfit that he wore when he first arrived to do battle with Mecha Courage. That could be some kind of DLC. These could be paid DLC outfits. I think people would be interested in purchasing these particular outfits for Courage. I mean, I would for sure as a fan of the show. I love the show, and it's one of my favorite cartoons. And the let's scroll down. The rabbit outfit from the I think this is one of the first episodes from the beginning of the season 1. I think it was Night of the Weremole, and each time the weremole would bite you, it would it well, just to kick it back old school, Muriel was bit by the weremole, and she was different, and she was born on the ground. She was biting people. She was super different and just popping in and out of the house from under the ground. It was just such a great episode. And just to bait the weremole, Courage actually dressed as a in a rabbit costume or a bunny costume to try to bait him and distract it, and try to I think take a piece of his hair, if I remember correctly, to try to undo the curse of the weremole. But that would be a cool little outfit I would like to see added into this game. And I came up with a dress shirt and hat from the great Fusilli episode when they performed on stage, and I think it was like a lizard dragon or something like that with a top hat, and he had turned Muriel and Eustace into puppets, and he was trying to really take over them for good and have his own show. He didn't have an audience or anything like that, so he thought maybe if he takes the souls of two humans, more people probably come see his show, and you'll have a real audience to probably be able to perform in front of and stuff like that. And it was kind of scary a little bit, Muriel and Eustace being puppets. It was a little scary a little bit, but the dress shirt and hat that he wore on stage during his performance, and when he thought it was legit, but he didn't know his true and Facility's true intentions of trying to really steal and take over Muriel and Eustace for good, forever to do his shows and performances on stage. So I came up with those for potential cosmetics. I think the Gladiator outfit would be one of the best ones, the best options if they don't get the other cosmetics for sure. And just going through the taunts, I'm gonna get ready to talk about these. Just Courage was known for just being someone who screams a lot and just being scared, and he always would still find a way to conquer the enemies and stop the villains from um, just committing anything just devious and stuff like that, and saving Muriel, who he wanted to save the most, but he would still try to save Eustace if he could and save them both from whoever it is. But just with the screams could be a little taunt like, oh, just and you go, ah! But that could be something that he could do from some kind of taunt. And then some iconic quotes that I looked up that he will always say from the TV show that I remember from watching the show. He said, Muriel, I'll save you. And then even if that's not a potential taunt, I came up with an idea here that you could see sort of kind of that when you pick this character, when you get ready to select a fighter on the screen, it'll be something that he could say when you select them. Muriel, I'll save you. And then the other iconic quote before he gets ready to, do something that he might regret or something that might be super risky, he'll say, the things I do for love. That'll be some kind of iconic quote that could be something, if it's not a taunt, it could be also something that can be said as a potential quote or a voice line when you select them on your screen. But now, just to wrap up, I came up with a couple ideas for his moveset for Courage. Now, just how I was saying that he was always a screamer and just being able to, he was always yelling and, screaming in fear, that could be the key to his moveset. Being able to have some kind of powerful lungs. It takes, you're screaming at the top of your lungs. You gotta have some super ultra mega powerful lungs to do something like that. So maybe that could be implemented as his moveset and one of his abilities that can do some serious damage. See what I'm saying? So just like I have here, he was known for being afraid, but still always found a way to save Muriel and Eustace whenever he could, and he did know whatever he was willing to do anything he could to save them, especially Muriel. Even if Eustace got left behind several times episodes in certain episodes, he ended up getting left behind, and Muriel being the only one being saved at that because Eustace is obsessed with money and he's doing anything for it, stuff like that. So uh, it just happens in certain episodes. But this could be a key factor to show his ability, his strength. As scared as he is and as terrified as he is, he has that potential courage or that bravery within to be able to fight and take on all comers, to be able to fight any sort of opponent to come out victorious. So that can really just show that he's he's capable. He's more than capable of being a good fighter in this game. So let's get into some of the movesets now. So I already talked about screaming. So I have here screaming attacks could create slow moving sound waves, so like a hyper voice. I'm thinking a little bit like Pokemon with what was the name? Exploud. It had something called hyper voice that did some damage. He could use something like that and they can name that kind of move. But it could come off as a projectile attack. So as he continues to scream, oh, and the player can hold the button a little bit longer, maybe possibly on their controller or whatever platform that they're playing on, to create a bigger sound wave. See what I'm saying? So that could be something that could damage the opponent because he has so much powerful lungs and he can be developed as a fighter because he with his screaming attacks, his yelling and stuff like that. That could be something, and maybe it could be charged. But I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. And since he's a dog, he can probably have some typical bite attacks or something like that, or maybe like a strong bite that can be considered a strong attack to do some damage to the opponent. Maybe he can. I came up with this off the top of my head. He can probably be able to stay on the opponent to snare them and stun them, so he could be just all types of different requests, and any not requests, but just any sort of it can open up windows for different attacks when he snares the opponent. But that's why I just came with a big bite attack as a strong little attack to launch, maybe with to launch the opponent across the screen, or maybe he can do mid-air bites to probably be able to continue to do serious damage to the opponent. Now, with his lungs, I came up with this little idea similar to like Little Mac and Cloud. They have different meters. Little Mac has the KO meter, so when it's charged up, he can do like a super powerful punch. And then Cloud's limit break, you use that from the Final Fantasy games when it's charged up. You can get, he can get a certain amount of percentage, or his his lungs. He can get like a meter mechanic where his lungs can charge up as he continues to take damage. So as he's fighting, he can get his meter up, and then the opponent or the player who's playing as Courage in the fight can be able to unleash some kind of big giant screen. And I think they can really implement this because his lungs meter, and then once the player unleashes it, it can go on a cooldown period for a few seconds, and then after the cooldown period expires, it can start charging up again. See what I'm saying? So that probably will be something that'll be cool to be implemented. So I'm not sure how many seconds, and I forgot how the whole function is for the others. I think once they use it, it just goes back down and then starts charging up all over again. But I think this will be something that'll be really cool to see, some kind of meter mechanic for his lungs, and it could be charged up, and then the player, whenever the player is ready to unleash it, he or she can with courage. And then I was thinking a little bit like thinking of Jigglypuff a little bit with a power nap. See how Jigglypuff sleeps. I think that also does damage, but maybe this could be viewed as some kind of recovery move. So when he gets a wide open opportunity, you get some separation from the opponent. Maybe the player can probably take the time to rest a little bit, and almost like a Pokemon move too, because with rest, you get hit points back. Maybe that could be something that could be used sparingly from time to time, so it's not overpowered and it's not going to be constantly spammed throughout the fight. So Courage gets that particular balance in the fight or within his ability, so the player can't keep resting over and over. You can use it from time to time. So I just put power nap. That could be something that could be used. I don't know what you guys think about that. And then he could probably be able to breathe fire as a little potential ability from time to time. This could also be charged potentially, but I referenced the squatting tiger hidden dog episode is when he was supposed to rescue Muriel, who was being captured by a goddess. So he was learning different tests. He was to go through different tests and be able to test his strength and his patience and how he can calm his spirit and stuff like that. He was able to overcome this test by taking in, or basically absorbing, the whole flames that was spewed from the dragon in front of him guarding the gate to the goddess herself, to her headquarters, or her residence. He absorbed the entire fire and then he spat it right back out at him. So this could probably be something that could be cool to see Courage do, to be able to have his own little fire breath attack. I don't know if this will probably be implemented. I don't know what you guys think about it, but it'll be something it's something that I thought of. So because he was able to overcome those tests and just be able to outlast the dragon and be able to be at peace. And she said you were able to be at peace when you're in danger. You see what I'm saying? So that could be something that will be cool to be implemented. And something that he was known for also from the episodes, he will always shapeshift. So I came up with this as a little recovery move. It was during that cruise episode. I forgot which episode it was. It was when he was on Cat's cruise. Cat's always got some really suspicious businesses in the show. I always like the thing that it plays. Just the beat with it with the cats. I'm cats. He could be in this game too. But I came up with this little shape shifting idea where, going towards the end of it, he was able to rescue Muriel and Eustace by shape shifting into a helicopter. Maybe this could be his recovery move in the game. I don't know what you guys think about it. And maybe some other potential abilities to shapeshift into to maybe cause deal damage to the opponent. But this is basically everything that I could come up with as far as Courage's moveset for his recovery. And I don't know. I think shapeshifting would be a perfect recovery move. I can't imagine anything else that he could probably be doing. He could possibly be doing to get back into the stage. He could probably shapeshift into a helicopter for a few seconds to be able to get back in the fight, and then that way it's not too strong of a recovery. It'll be a good one, but the helicopter propeller won't spin for too long, so that way it fits that balance. But I think Courage the Cowardly Dog would be a good pick. I just wanted to come up with something different for the multiverses. And if you guys like this kind of style of video, maybe I'll do some other characters that you guys want to see for multiverses and come up with some different character ideas for he or she or whoever it is that you want to see. Instead of just talking about characters I want to see, I want to just come up with some ideas of what they can do, what he or she could do, and what they could be capable of in the game if they get implemented, just to share some ideas. But it's super fun, coming up with these different ideas. I just wanted to do something for the multiverses, some kind of potential character. No one's talked about Courage the Cowardly Dog, so I wanted to bring some light to it and talk about what he can possibly do in this game if he gets at it.